I'm a little young, but you don't know what I've become. Can't you see it in my face? The demon living in disguise, but you can see the killer in my eyes. I've got a look you can't escape. Boku no mirai wa dare ni mo wakaru nai. Mina wa boku o dame na yatsu to omou. Kakami o mitsumeru boku o misakete iru. Kero naka ni wa okina chikara kibo ga aru. Maybe I'm a little young, but you don't know what I've become. Can't you see it in my face? A demon living in disguise, but you can see the killer in my eyes. I've got a look you can't escape. You can't escape. No one understood the world that I was making. Look me in the face and tell me I was faking. Maybe I'm a little young, but you don't know what I've become. Can't you see it in my face? A demon living in disguise, but you can see the killer in my eyes. I've got a look you can't escape. Have I become a little too shy for love? I've been hurt before. All's fair in love and war. So I snuggle up close to the shell I'm living in. And if I let you in, another round begins. No, I'm spinning in a vicious cycle. I'm scared of doing something I'll regret. Maybe this is right, but I'm still staring at your silhouette. What if you're everything I need? A fire in my heart, the air I breathe. What if I'm incomplete without you by my side? What if I go against my heart instead of confessing from the start? What if I miss out on the life meant for us? I need you by my side.
Should I be scared? The feeling's so different now. You got me floating here, a feather in the air. Oh, but when the wind blows, will I tumble or sail away? Or would you have me stay? And what if I escape? I know
I'm spinning in a vicious cycle. I'm scared of doing something I'll regret. Maybe this is right, but I'm still staring at your silhouette. What if you're everything I need? A fire in my heart, the air I breathe. What if I'm incomplete without you?
Hello, hello. Welcome back. Hope you're having a wonderful and blessed day today. This is nothing more than a test stream for me. I'm trying to see if I can get some stuff working on my Linux system here, and I'm currently having two problems. One, it's not wanting to connect to Twitch the way that it should, which I'm trying to solve that one right now and see if I can't get the Twitch part started. Okay, it just keeps saying that it's reconnecting to Twitch, but yet it's connected over on Team Green without a problem. And then my chat thing's not working. Most everything else seems to be working. I'm not quite sure why the chat, so I use Social Stream Ninja for the chat setup. I'm not sure why that's not working. And I'm just going to be flipping around different screens and stuff. My auto recording and all that other stuff seems to be going okay. My green screen in the background seems to be okay. And my mask that just focuses it down on me seems to be okay. And I'm just going to be mucking with settings here. So like most of this is just for me to make sure that I've got everything okay. So like here is the main OBS camera, Droid Cam. I go to filters and I turn off the advanced mask. You can kind of see the stuff around me. I've got the chroma key for this, so I'm just going to go back into what should be my game stream and see how much. Yeah, so like right here you can see where it's cutting off the game here and here, which is why I've got the advanced mask on. But I think I can adjust and make the mask a little bit bigger. So let's do that. I mean, might as well. I mean, we're just here. This is a test stream. Might as well just try to make everything work if we can. Not that I am an expert at any of this stuff. I'm just goofing around trying some of those things. So let's go to the width. Okay, so we have it there. I think the problem is like it gets it correct here. So it is this side here. So does that mean that I need to take and maybe move the green screen over just a tad? And then make the width slightly smaller. There we go. That at least gives you the ability to like put my hand up, and if I move around a little bit, I'm not going to get cut off, right? So, because it's either that or what I've got to do is I've got to extend the green screen out more, which the current bar that it sits on top of with its clips are not wide enough. So I chose the option. I got a 5 foot wide by 6 foot tall green screen. Thing is I actually set it on its side because of the fact that sitting down here, I mean, you can't see the bottom of it, you can't see the top of it, but the thing is it should be wider, but the bar that came with it wasn't wide enough, so I gotta, you know, adapt it and put some stuff in there. But I think that makes it pretty good here. And then if I go back to my game scene, yeah, that looks a lot better. And, you know, I just want to, you know, like test out things. So like, oh, that's YouTube music. I don't want to do that. Let me switch my screen. Oh, my secondary camera is not working. Okay. That tells me that the screen that I have for the secondary camera. Oh, yep. Okay, there we go. So it's just a little bit. Cancel. Okay. So now that screen should be working. So now if I toggle this here, which should be able to see it. Okay, cool. That popped up just fine. And then it should switch back. I actually want to try to build a different toggle for that. So if I come back over here, and I'm just testing out different buttons. So that's my intermission screen. Here's my screen saying that I'll be right back. This is my what camera. Okay. So then 6 would be my local screencasting, which I'm still trying to figure out on my Windows environment. When I'm doing all this in Windows and I'm running the streaming software in Windows, I actually have the monitor turned vertical and I have the docks for the chat set up, and it's all in OBS. So it's easier to have OBS tall wise so that I can set the OBS windows so that I can have this portion of the OBS windows at the bottom of the screen and then have the chat right above it, where here the chat's over on the side. And I'm trying to see whether I would prefer to have it here, but in Windows I'm able to take this chat window and dock it right up here at the top and have as another one of the tabs. So just trying to figure out which way I want to actually do some of this stuff. Don't want to go to stream ending yet. Let's go to display capture over here. That's working. Just chatting takes me here. There's a chat thing right here, but you can't see it because it's not working for some reason. Test. So if I put a message here in social stream, it doesn't work. But if I come over here to either one of, nope, do a test here. I don't know whether that popped up. I know I got it on Discord. YouTube, test YT. And then I've got one more to test with, so that was Team Red. Oh, come on, I need ours. Team Green. Test R. And nothing. Okay, so I gotta figure out that part out. So I don't know why that's not working. So everything but the chat seems to be okay. So here, compact color. So all of that's okay there. Oh, did I even update the multi-chat? Let me see. The session. Am I have the same session ID? That could be. I'm wondering if maybe I messed up the session while I'm doing this. For H and H2. That looks the same. So then the other thing could be is the fact that, let me go and close that out. So, oh, and let me see, is this going to, okay. The other thing would be is, let me take a look at, let me starting Team Purple. It just seems, it keeps saying reconnect. So let me take a look at this. And go back to my intermission screen, because it's a little bit easier to see where information is because of where I've got the chat and stuff. So, and let's go into help log files, view current log. Okay, so multi-connect use 20. So here is the our temp URL for Team Purple. It's saying send error code. HPEG CBR ultra low. Does it? Oh, I wonder if I'm not. Okay, let me modify Team Purple here. Oh, it's HEVC. I wonder. Oh, I think I've got to go back to QuickSync H.264. I think what happened was I incorrectly chose the encoder output, and that is what's causing it to die, because I'm sending it in encoding types that it can't understand. H.264 on the test version of it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this. Okay, connected. 60 frames a second. Let me check, see whether Team Purple's working now. That is not Team Purple. Here we go. Let's load this up. And now I see Team Purple and it's working. So the audio is working. So now the only weird thing is the browser dock. Okay, so let me try this. I'm wondering if it's because I've got, so in using Social Stream Ninja, I have to have two different sets of windows open. Oh, it's asking no, cancel. I don't want to open. All right, let me close all the tabs, which also means that it should have closed all the ones over here. Oh, it didn't. Okay, that's good. So what I'm gonna try to do is open a different browser, because on Linux I'm using Brave, and I'm wondering if maybe that's part of the problem. Is I've got Brave opened in two separate ways on two separate systems. So let me try opening up the native browser for GarudaLinux. Is FireDragon. So let me open up FireDragon and let me put in the Social Stream Ninja stuff here. Let me bring the window and compress it down some so that I can at least try to see it. And then let me pull this down. Let me bring this up and let me just send a test message. Test 1. Okay, that didn't do anything. So now if I come back over here, oh, this is extensions active. Okay, so maybe the extension got turned off. Okay, so what we're going to do then is I'm going to go through and refresh each one of these pages. Because the other thing I've noticed with Social Stream Ninja is it works great, but usually once you started your stream, you have to go back and refresh the pages, and that's to help get them all the little pop-out windows and everything, get them all reconnected. You know what? And this might be a 3-monitor type of setup, so like multi-desktop setup. So in Linux, if for anybody that isn't aware of it, that there's multiple desktops, and you can get them in Windows, which is more common in Linux. And you could use Control, the Windows key, and left and right to swap screens. So I'm wondering if maybe for Linux here, or for on here, I need to do something where the third desktop becomes, so like the primary desktop is where I would have OBS, and the chat that I want to see. On the second desktop is where I'm going to run things like StreamerBot, where I'll run YouTube music so that I can have the music starting and stopping and stuff, and a couple other things. And then on the third desktop would be the desktop where I would have the chat windows open. But I'm also kind of wondering if that's the reason why the chat isn't working. So let's try this here. Now that I've done that, test 2. Okay, so that didn't work. So then what happens if I open up this in the same window that all... Brave crashed on me. Maybe that was part of the problem. Lock. Brave. Yeah, go ahead and restore all the windows I had open, please. So let me try running test 3 here. Test 3. Nope. Huh. Well, let me see. Did it pop up? No. Okay. Oh, the fun parts of getting this stuff to work. Okay. So let me go ahead and just make this window a little bit smaller so that I can have all of the chat windows side by side at least. Or is about as close to side by side. I just need to be able to see all of them. And let's see here. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. Oh, that's a good question. Is that actually showing what I'm doing? Well, you know what? The best way for me to tell is to pull the stream. What is it on my screen that you guys are seeing? Okay, cool. So you can see the secondary screen that I've got, the second desktop. So if I switch here, awesome. Okay, that works nice, because then that helps me with being able to really... It is very difficult to say something and then to hear me saying it back to myself, because I've got it over here. So let me turn that off here. The nice part about it is that means that I can set up the multiple desktops and be able to control them. So if I want to be able to have a specialized desktop for the way I want to display things, I don't have to have all this clutter on there. I can literally come up here, create a specialized desktop that would be just the desktop I would go to for displaying things in the stream. And then the other thing that's just bugging me is the fact that I also have Doom sitting here, and I'm going to play that. But I think this is all, I think so far everything is working really well. I'm going to try this here. We're going to pause the recording. Yep, it looks like it did the pausing. And resume. It did a resume recording. I'm going to tell it to save a replay, because that's been active this whole time. Should be able to see. Yep, so I got the vertical backtrack and I got the replay. Both of those got kicked out, so that's all working. Let me toggle the game audio. That seems to be working okay. Let me toggle my audio. Oh yeah, everything was working okay except for the chat, which, I mean, again, I can come back over here and I could see all the chats together. Wait a minute. All right, so let me just close out that social stream dock here. I need to close out Dolphin. Okay, so now if I come back over here, let me disable, enable, let me trigger a fake message. Oh, its own triggering mechanism isn't working. So that means there's something else not right. Okay. So Brave is installed using FlatHub, which is different from the other browsers. So the other system I had Brave installed on my test bed, on my Linux test bed. I had Brave installed in Windows. So let me do this here, local screen capture again. So here I have utilities flat seal. So on my test machine, I set it up so that Brave is actually installed as part of the operating system. It's installed natively into the operating system for Arch Linux. This time I chose to take Brave and I installed it using a Flatpak. And flat seal is the way that you actually be able to give permissions, because in Linux you have a far more control over what you're doing. And what I'm thinking what's happening is the fact that in here, I haven't given this permission to use the network. So like there's all these permissions. So like here I've told Brave it can use the pulse audio. It can fall back to X11 windowing, because in GarudaLinux KDE I'm using the Windows compositor is Wayland, but I'm told that it can, you know, this is just an option to go back to X11 if you have to. It should use like the X Wayland bridge that gets into far more Linux stuff that I want to right now. It does have the network, but I'm wondering if it's one of these options here for the session. Let me go ahead and check these two things. It doesn't need to talk to cups. It doesn't really need smart cards because I don't have a smart card. But that was its default. Oh, okay. GPU acceleration. Yeah, we'll give it access to the GPU. Why not? Input devices. It's not a virtualization, but it should have access to the keyboard and stuff. USB devices, it doesn't need that. For Brave, it doesn't need access to the webcam and stuff. It doesn't need Bluetooth because I'm not using anything Bluetooth. And it has access to the host. Here's a bunch of stuff. I could probably get rid of the pipe wire, but oh, if I want Brave to play music, like if I go out and go to YouTube and I want to have Brave, okay, so that would allow me to use up and be able to pull up either YouTube or Spotify to do stuff there. Okay, so I think that should be okay. Now, the other thing is the defaults, it auto saves everything. So if I come back over to this window, let me go ahead and just say close all, close this. And now we'll just relaunch Brave. Get rid of that one. Let's go to the browser, the main browser dock. And then we'll open this up and we'll just say trigger fake message. And it doesn't work. Well, that's interesting. Stream chat dock and overlay. Okay, so why is it not copy this link. Let me paste it again. Oh, okay. My session changed. So if I go into, all right, let's go back to this screen. All right, let me go to my alert. No, not my alerts, multi-chat. Properties. Wonder when my session changed. And how often is that going to happen? Okay, so now if I open up Brave here, I go to here and pull this up so that I can put this on the side here. Okay, so now if I come back over here, I go to social stream, I should be able to go to the Discord, have Discord open, go to Twitch. Let me just going through all the options that I have to like pop out the chat windows and stuff. So there's the Twitch chat window. Next one is Team Red. You gotta remember to call them by the colors. Although I don't care, I don't make any money on this. It's not like I get banned or punished for one. I don't make anything, so it's not like it's a great loss. Okay. Live chat, pop it out. Okay, there we go. All right, so now I've got, nope, go back over here. I've got all of these. So now that I'm at the window where I can see all of them together, let me do a test. Test 1 and okay, it came up 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that worked. What happened to my session stuff? What in the world? When did my session change? How did I change it? Shouldn't have changed. Oh, no? That's why I have the right. See, I'm trying to think. So like the whole Social Stream Ninja basically is when you set everything up, it creates a session for you, and then you use that session to be able to connect everything together. And the issue becomes is that if your session changes, that presents a problem. Why did my session change? Because I tested this. I wonder if maybe I still had the setting from the previous version where it was based off of Brave when it was installed as a native app on Arch Linux or on GarudaLinux versus when I had it installed in the bottle or as part of, no, not bottle, Flatpak. So I'm thinking that maybe that is what caused a bit of a difference. But now, and so that's the other thing I could do is I could come out here and now I can test all this stuff. So if I'm out here, hello from Team Purple. Okay. That one worked. If I go here on DC, hello from Team Purple DC. Okay, that one worked. Team Green. Here, my stuff. From Team Green. That one I did not see. Test. Oh, why am I not? Okay, so I'm not seeing Team Green here. I did see it at the top. So what's going on here? Let's see. Test. I'm not seeing. Enable slow. Disable slow chat. Hello. All right. Okay. They all came through. Oh, it was delayed. All right, let's see how delayed it is. Hello again. Oh, okay. Well, a little annoying, but not something I can't figure out a way to work around. And let's go to Team Red here. Okay, so the big thing is I could see. I can see where they're coming from. The other ones are not showing up, which is good. Okay, well that took care of all of that. All right, then I'm just gonna play through just a little bit here, just so that it's actually recording the game, so I can hear the game audio and everything, make sure all that's okay. Switch back to my gaming PC. Single player, new game, kernel. Thank you for dying. Oh, no. You didn't get me that time, did you, bud? You're mad about that, huh? Die now. 1, 2, 3. Nope. All right. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's get back around here. I don't think I was there. There was. There was something about the brilliance of the original Doom creators that made the little images always rotate and turn for them and any of the characters. That just gives it such a better a depth that even modern games still struggle with at times. You think you were gonna go, buddy? You're in a locked hallway. Is there anything else over here that I missed? Oh, let me see what's going on. Text message. Oh, okay, no text. Alright, cool. Not worry about anything. Alright. Oh, now I know why it feels like it's a little weird. I'm running out of stuff because last time I was just using the cheat codes to put in all the ammo that I wanted. IDD QD? No. IDD AFA. IDD AFA. There we go. Now we'll switch to the rocket launcher, which was always my favorite. Much easier to play when you're in God mode. Alright. Get out of here, skadoosh. I guess it could just do this. I'm explaining it a lot easier. Also, I can't remember whether or not that... Yep, nope, it doesn't. It only does certain things within its visible range. Really? Seemed like I thought I heard like one more. Oh, there we go. Oh no, I'm locked in. Look here, buddy. Get out of the way. You take a direct hits to the face there. I kind of know what your problem is. Alright, let's get back out of here. Oh, yep, that's right. There's more people out here. Why not? Go find them all. The other thing, too, I always liked about what they did with the game was is that you could tell exactly how much of stuff you found, how many enemies you killed, so that you could choose to go back and do even more. You get a true 100% complete. The only other thing I found that I don't like is the slight delay on the plasma cannon on the refire. Something right. Let's see here. The pistol. The regular shotgun. Do I have a super shotgun? No, you don't have a super shotgun in this one here yet. I guess it's until you get to Doom 2. Admittedly, I didn't really pay that much attention to like the map and the lore and stuff. I just went through and killed everything. Did exactly what it told me to do, rip and tear, until it was done. And that's all I focused on. Alright, well, we're gonna end out of this one here. Let's just pull up another game while I'm at it. Make sure that it switches everything okay. Let's just pull up CSGO. See what we got here. So I've got some other things. So I'm also working on downloading on my my Linux laptop. I've been working on downloading Wabbajack, which is a mod pack piece for Skyrim. And I'm trying to download a mod pack. It's a little weird because it's Linux, so it's running under Proton and Windtricks and stuff like that. I'm trying to get all that going. And it's been a little wonky. I was trying to download some stuff from Nexus Mods and it just is taking forever. Okay, give me just a second. I will be right back. Okay, so I'm going to go get a granola bar. So like this all seems to be working pretty well. I think I can deal with this because like the big thing is like the streaming PC that the other streaming PC that I have is Windows 10, and I'm not overly enthusiastic. I'm not overly enthusiastic about upgrading it due to some of the stuff that Microsoft wants to do. And it's just one of those things where just kind of like it bothers me a little bit, and I'm just going to keep switching screens around here. Yeah, that's right, it did come up okay. So yeah, and I'm just not overly enthusiastic about what Microsoft wants to do about forcing to have an account and stuff like that. Like I shouldn't have to have an always online PC in order to be able to use an operating system, which is part of the reason why I want to go to Linux. I noticed that I can see a little bit more of the green screen right there. I don't know if it's going to be, hopefully it's not going to be something that's just going to bug me to death, but either way, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's really not that noticeable. Okay, now you can't notice it at all. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to get over to Linux. Two, for the security and the fact that I noticed that in Linux, at least, that I find daily patches to a lot of software. There are constant upgrades, and a lot of it comes from where the especially because I'm running on Arch Linux, a lot of comes from the community taking patches from apps where I don't see them get patched as much as Windows. Windows seems to take a while. And I chose Arch Linux because it seems to be like it has the greatest flexibility for games. Matter of fact, while I'm at it, here's one. I've got another game on here, which does me no good to click this game and show you because I'm not running on Linux. But one of the games that I play, that my family and I played together. Let me see here. What is it? 6, I think it is. No, that's local 8. And yeah, I display capture. This game right here, Soul Mask. It's an interesting game to play. It's fairly difficult survival style game. Clearly we've played a little bit. Most games run under Proton just fine on Linux. But this one right here, what I found was this Arch Linux is one of the few variations where Soul Mask will play correctly. And to me, that's a big deal because there are a slew of games that I do play with my family, and that being one of them, it was important for that one to work. So I tried it on straight Ubuntu. I tried it on Pop! OS. I tried it on Linux Mint, which are all Pop! OS and Linux Mint are both variations of Ubuntu. I tried Fedora, and I think I even tried Norbra, and it didn't work on any of those. I can't remember. Did I try Norbra? I tried it on CachyOS, and it worked on CachyOS, but I like GarudaLinux. It comes with some other utilities pre-built to do gaming. But the main driving factor behind getting any Arch Linux distribution would be Valve develops Proton on Arch, because Arch has some more capability to it. Not that the other ones don't. It's just, I guess Valve chose Arch because of its potentially its stability and the fact that the community there's a little bit more of a community driven aspect to Arch, because you have the Arch user repository where individuals can go out and actually help build and compile and stuff. And some of them, some people actually are part of the Arch operating system and they compile stuff in, but then you also have the ability to have individuals that can take software, get them to work. Now, mind you, you take it at your own risk as to whether or not you want to use it or not, but you can then take, and I could go pull software, figure out how to get it to work, get it to compile in Arch. I can then push that out to the Arch user repository, and then anybody else can take that. Now, mind you, they're not taking the executable. They don't have to. Like if I come up with a way of a set of build scripts and stuff to be able to compile code, you could pull it on yours and run the compile. You can sync to repository. You can do all this stuff. You can even do it manually. That way you're not taking a binary from somebody else and there's not going to be potentially viruses and stuff. You can do this in the other ones, but I think the Arch repository, the user community is just a little bit more interactive with it, and that could be part of the reason why Valve went with it. This is just me guessing at this point. I've not looked at why or any statement from Valve, but this has just been my experience with it. So I think that's part of it. So with that, what I found is just running any of the Arch distributions and variations seem to work well with the Proton stuff, and it works a little bit better because of that. So that's why I pick it. And for things like this, like Soul Mask and that, the only thing that I'm still thinking that I find rather disappointing would be that game companies don't want to build stuff, especially like with anti-cheats and that, for Arch or for any of the Linux distributions. And I think it's a really unfortunate thing. And I think if any one of the game companies actually thought about it, there are immutable distributions. It's easier to do an immutable distribution in the Linux world, which means it's a distribution that you can't change. The user can't change it. Windows, you can hack all day. You can actually hack most Linux distributions. But if you were to pick a distribution where from boot to play, it was immutable, where the user simply cannot modify. Game companies could even give you a thing. And then what you could even create an immutable distribution for playing their game. And what they could do is maybe add in some of the basic stuff like Discord, things like that. So we'll take one of the more popular games right now. If you were to take Battlefield and deploy Battlefield in the anti-cheat and the COM stuff, and were to build an immutable distribution, you could say you have to install this on a drive. You could actually create a boot section for it so that you have to boot it independent of everything else. You could literally set everything up where you would partition off your drives and stuff, and you would create a Battlefield boot partition where you can boot and the user cannot install software. You literally just launch Steam, you launch the game that you want, and you could do that. That's kind of what the Steam Deck kind of is, but it's a immutable means that it can't be changed. Most operating systems are mutable because you can install and modify and do all this other stuff. But if we actually pushed manufacturers, even of laptops, to give you a hot swap drive, because there's more than enough room to do this kind of stuff. I could foresee a world not exactly like Framework. I'm talking about like there being a panel on the computer where maybe you press a button and it slides out a slot where you can just pop in the drive for Battlefield, the drive for Marvel Rivals, the drive for, but if it's immutable, then you can install multiple things. Like if you wanted to have Battlefield and Marvel Rivals both installed through Steam, that you would pop that in. Any other company wanted to do this, you could set it up where you just pop the drive in and you boot that, and you know you're going to get a game. It effectively makes your PC as if it's a console almost, and you can solve all the problems. You can put the anti-cheat. You have access, as the companies would have access to be able to push updates to that image and stuff, the immutable piece. That way you could deploy whatever it is you needed to. And you can even put some cross checks in there and stuff to make sure that it's booting. But it's a little bit of overhead for me. Like if I wanted to switch from playing, let's just say it was 2 separate drives, right? I would have to reboot to do that stuff. But is it really a bad thing? I mean, it doesn't take that long. And if they're all on NVMe drives and stuff, it doesn't take that much to do it. It'd be pretty easy, pretty quick. So there's a lot of things I think some of these companies are really looking. And because you can make it an immutable operating system, there's other things that you can do. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody isn't going to find a way to cheat. And it doesn't mean that somebody isn't going to say, okay, cool, you gave me an immutable operating system. I'm going to spin it up into a virtualized environment. So I'm going to use something like Docker or VirtualBox or Quality Emulator, QEMU, to be able to boot and have this running as a secondary machine and stuff and be able to try to cheat with it that way. But you can also catch those kind of things in an immutable operating system. You literally check for whether or not you're in a virtualized environment, and if you are, you just don't allow it to work. So there are things that you can do, and Linux lends itself better to that. And what I would say is that if anybody is looking to do that kind of stuff, EA, any of the companies, work with Valve on being able to do that so that it can be integrated into Steam and you get the benefits that you want. Make it an immutable operating system. Make it so that you have some of the basic things that you want to do. A browser for YouTube, if you want to boot that and like watch YouTube. Look at some of the basic things that developers, or not developers, that gamers are going to want, and then just put it as part of the immutable operating system, and then you just set it up. So I think there's a lot of ways that they could take care of that. But this is, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. The streams have been active for about an hour. I've tested out almost most of my buttons. Let's go back to here. And let me toggle. Okay, the gamma toggle is working. Yeah, I think everything else was working. So far, everything seems to be working. I mean, I'm seeing it trigger buttons and stuff like that. Oh, so here is one thing I can help show. Let me switch back over here. So one thing that I found, and I don't know whether there's a lot of interest in me doing this kind of stuff, but one thing I found was in StreamerBot, in the actions here, I'll start recording. Nope. Just go to the toggle, simple one, toggle mute. Now, mind you, these things take a little bit longer to load in Linux and stuff like that. What I found was in the upgrade, the StreamerBot, that the source code worked, and on my Windows environment, it just takes whatever the default one is. What I found where I had to make changes was here. So in the original code, and I commented out because I thought about maybe trying to start recording other videos about what I'm learning with using some of the streamer tools. I've been streaming for a little bit, but at least learning some of this stuff. And what I found was you have to go in there, and it has 3 fields where before I don't know that it did. It might have, but maybe I just missed it, and it always defaulted to the first streamer OBS application. So let me take us back for just a second. So if I go to streaming apps, I look at OBS, I've got 2 here. My first one is my gaming PC, so I can control the gaming thing because there's a couple scenes on my gaming PC, one just for the game capture and one for the display capture. I think of the other one, I had this one, the streaming PC, I had it first. So I think it defaulted to whatever thing was first. So here, what I found, how I had to fix the problem where my buttons and stuff like that, my toggles weren't working, was I had to come back in here and do OBS source mute on the NDI game from that scene, say what I wanted in there, which is the Razer mic, because that's what I named it, and saying that it's on 1, the connection. So I think I may have inadvertently caused myself my own problem, but it also forced me to grow and understand how this works better. So I don't know if anybody stayed around or I happened to catch this towards the end of all of this stuff, or whether I even leave this up or not. But that's something I found is one of the unique things about dealing with StreamerBot is you have to come in here and look at some of this source code and see how many options that it has and stuff. I mean, it works perfectly fine now. I just go back in and put that one thing. So that was kind of nice. And it was nice to be able to get it. And so far, StreamerBot running in a bottle with just a couple of the basic things in that there all seems to be working really well. Matter of fact, I'm even was helping somebody else out who is on Linux, who was using Nutty's starter pack. So I set up a test StreamerBot, installed Nutty's starter pack and stuff like that, and was able to get things going there. And I was able to help troubleshoot and tell the other person in the StreamerBot support group for Linux users some suggestions on being able to how to get his stuff fixed up. So it is kind of nice to be able to get to do some of this stuff. So I don't know, maybe, I don't know that I necessarily need a separate channel, but I might try to build some playlists or something like that, where maybe I do put some of this stuff out on my YouTube channel, if nothing else. It isn't well suited for Twitch. Not that I wouldn't still broadcast it to Twitch, but none of my VODs get recorded. They only stay out there for 14 days. But the nice thing is, like, I custom build playlists in my YouTube channel and can upload videos into the YouTube channel or do the live streams and just push them right to a YouTube channel. So there might be some things there that I might be able to do. But we're going to go ahead and hit the end stream button and test this button out, because the begin stream worked, but now we got to test the end stream. And it's the only button I haven't tested yet. And of course, it's got my the 1 minute countdown. So I think that I've gotten most of my stuff done and fixed up for what I'm looking for in StreamerBot running on Linux. I'll have to pay attention to the Social Stream Ninja and stuff. I did see some things, and I've got ATEM multi-streaming, and I know that ATEM has come out with some more stuff from the chat and some other integration points that I might look at here in the future, but I don't know, because I'm happy with what I have. I like what I have. It's simple and I'm used to it, but it doesn't mean I don't want to grow and see some of these other things, but I want to see them be able to build some of the features and things like that that I've got now to make it easier to use. But so long for now.